We have another mid-season review coming your way today. It's the 2025 mid-season review of the St Kilda Saints. Sit back and enjoy. We're going to go through all the stats, all the numbers, what we can expect for St Kilda this year. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome on into the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. We've got another 2025 mid-season review coming your way today, and today it is the St Kilda Saints as each team reaches their mid-season bye. We're doing a mid-season review for each team. This is team number 6 for the season. So go back, check out all of them. I think so far we've got Fremantle, Bulldogs, Kangaroos, Port Adelaide, and one other team, Carlton. So go check them out. We run through how their season's going so far, some of the key stats, all the best players so far this year, and we finish off with a look towards the rest of 2025 and what we can expect to see from each team for the rest of the year. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that noti bell so you don't miss any videos. We've got plenty coming your way over the coming weeks. Also, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of St Kilda so far this year, where you see them finishing up at the end of season 2025. Like the video if you enjoy. Don't forget to check out the podcast. Let's jump into St Kilda Saints 2025 mid-season review. So first off, we'll have a look at what has happened so far for the Saints this year. They had a bye in opening round, so their first game of the year was round 1 against Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval, and it was not their best performance, let's be fair. They lost it by 63 points. It doesn't look so bad in hindsight. Adelaide are having a fantastic season so far, especially at Adelaide Oval, so not terrible performance from them. But they were never really in that game. They lost it by 63. They weren't the only team to lose their first game this year by quite a bit. Quite a few teams have done that. You look at Fremantle, you look at Collingwood. Collingwood have completely turned it around. Fremantle certainly are looking that way as well at the moment. Round 2 was Geelong at Marvel Stadium. I was at this game, and Geelong looked awesome in round 1, but round 2, St Kilda got it done by 7 points. That Marvel Stadium curse for Cats. Round 3 was Richmond at Marvel Stadium, and they smacked them. 82-point winners were the Saints. Really good performance that day. Round 4 was Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. Really good win, 17 points. I know Port Adelaide have not had a great start to their season 2025, but still an away win at the Adelaide Oval was really good for them at this point. Things kind of fell apart a little bit after that, though, for the Saints. They lost to GWS in gather round by 28 points. Not a bad performance, but never really in that one. Then got smacked by the Doggies and smacked by Brisbane, both of them at Marvel Stadium. So a little bit of a falter there to drop back to 3 and 4 after 7 weeks. They then managed a really good win against Fremantle. Fremantle never looked even in that game, so a really strong performance that day at Marvel Stadium, 61-point winners. And then another little mini collapse. They lost to Carlton at the MCG by 15 points. They were the first team and only team so far this year to lose to West Coast, and that was at Optus Stadium by 28 points. Gold Coast, you kind of forgive. Gold Coast are one of the top teams so far this year, but 19-point losers at Marvel Stadium. And things were looking bad at this point. 4 wins, 7 losses. But they did manage a win in Alice Springs last weekend by 28 points over Melbourne. A very inaccurate Melbourne, but a win nonetheless. And just to give them a little bit of form, confidence heading into the bye. But they've got a lot of work to do, there's no doubt about it. So they've played 12 matches, 5 wins, 7 losses for the year so far. Pretty low percentage, 93.1. Ladder, they're sitting 11th on the ladder at the moment. Their record against the top 8 teams at the moment, 2 wins, 4 losses. Those 2 wins, obviously the Geelong one and the Fremantle one. Their 4 losses, obviously, you don't worry too much about losses against top 8 when you're looking at a team that's not in the 8. Record against the bottom 10, though, not so great. 3 wins, 3 losses. Those 3 losses against bottom 8 teams. Technically, Bulldogs, they're sitting 9th on the ladder at the moment, but that one's certainly a forgive. But the Carlton, West Coast losses, the other 2 losses, not so great. Basically is the long and the short of it. A look at some of the key stats for St Kilda so far this year. offensively scoring wise, they're 10th in the AFL so far this year, so not too bad. Certainly not as bad as it could be. Defensively 12th, so they're about where their ladder position is for both offense and defensively scoring. Seems about right for them. Time in forward half, they're 13th in the AFL so far this year, so they don't have the ball in their forward half all that often. However, if you look at total disposals, they're top 5 in the AFL for disposals per game, and they're 5th also in the AFL for uncontested possessions. So it just shows you that they can have a lot of the football. They don't necessarily have it in their forward half a lot, though. You also look at inside 50s. They're not a high inside 50 team, but they are a team that has the ball a lot. Rightly or wrongly, who knows? But it doesn't seem to work overall. I mean, they're a team that's 5-7. Last year, they were a similar spot. I can't remember where they were at their bye, but they were not in a great spot. Probably a couple positions lower than they are right now. Came home a little bit better, but still, they finished pretty low on the ladder. Year before, they just squeaked into finals, I think, from memory. It's just a period of a few years where they're just sitting mid-table. They're not really making moves up or down. I'm not writing them off by any stretch of the imagination for this year just yet, but there's just some things in the game plan that I don't love. Shots per game 14th in the AFL, so to be 10th highest scoring team, 14th in shots suggests that they are pretty accurate in front of goal. And one of their big issues is their points from forward half. If you look at their scoring sources and their scoring origins, everything seems pretty level peggings of where they are in the AFL, around that mid-table. But you look at the points from the forward half and they're 15th in the league and a fair way off the pace of most contending teams. That is their biggest issue when it comes to scoring, is their ability to create scores from that forward half. Moving on into the next bit of our video, we're going to have a look at some of the best players so far this year. We start with the defence, and it's a little bit of info about these graphics and what you can see on the screen. Rating is the all Aussie rules rating. We give every single player a rating from every single game. Equates to their overall rating. We also obviously put them in their positions and whatnot as well. Worth noting, if you play less than 50% game time in a match, that rating does not count. The class, there's 6 classes, technically 5. Elite is your top 10%. Top class is down to 25%. Above average is 25 to 40%. Average is 40 to 60%, and then below average is everybody from 60% down to obviously the bottom. Unranked is anybody that has played less than 4 games so far this year. So if you've played 4 games, you do have a class rating. Otherwise, you are unranked. Position ranking, self-explanatory. Your ranking in the AFL for that position. And AFL rank is overall ranking in the whole AFL, every player. So we start in the key defence for the Saints. They've got 2 main key defenders so far this year. Callum Wilkie and Anthony Cominti. Both played 12 games. Callum Wilkie, elite. He is the number 1 key defender so far this year. He's been very good. Nothing more to say about him, really. His numbers are really good week in, week out. He is an absolute gun. And obviously, I have him the number 1 ranked key defender, but he's in the box seat at the moment to be All-Australian this year. Cominti has a bit of work to do. I mean, he's the 2nd key defender, so he's probably not that far off where you would expect a 2nd key defender to be as when you've got the number 1. If he can progress a little bit higher, because at the moment he's average, if he could get that into the above average category, that would be really huge for him and for the St Kilda team. Dougal Howard's played 3 games, his rating's not huge, and Zane Cordy's played just the 1 game, wasn't very highly rated in that one. General defenders, they also have the number 1 ranked general defender, so number 1 ranked key and general defender. Jack Sinclair, so far 12 matches, he's in elite category, as is Nasiah Wanganeen Malira, who's played 12 games, also elite and ranked number 3 as a general defender. Both having outstanding seasons, there's no doubt about it. Getting plenty of the ball, using the ball pretty well most of the time. As we said, St Kilda are a high uncontested football team, and a lot of that is in their backline, and that's mainly through a lot of these players. A big drop-off after their top 2, though. Ryan Burns, his rating is in the below-average category, ranked 62nd as a general defender. Jimmy Webster, he's played 12 games. He's also below average. And then there's Stocker and O'Connell, who have played 7 each. And Angus Hasty, who's played 4 games, has a very low ranking, one of the lowest general defenders in the league so far. And then there's a couple players that are unranked. Ari Schoenmaker, who's only played 2 games, would be in that below average category, but somewhere in between Burns and Webster. And then Angus McLennan, who's played just the 1 game, but that was less than 50% game time, so he doesn't actually have a rating. So their top-end talent in their backline is really good. Obviously, that 1 key defender, 2 general defenders, really elite class back there. After that, though, they probably don't have the depth of some of the other teams that might not have the number 1 or number 3 or even top 10 players, but they typically have maybe 3 general defenders in the top 50, and if you could also have maybe 3 key defenders in the top 50 as well, would be crucial, because you don't need your top 3 key defenders every week, but there are some teams that you'd certainly do need it against. One of those is Adelaide, obviously. Phil Thorpe, Darcy Fogarty and Taylor Walker, all big tools that you need your key defenders for. So we move into the forward line for St Kilda. Their key forwards so far this year, they've got 3 main ones, I guess 4 if you count Isaac Keeler, who's first year player, 6 games. He's in that below average category. He's a young player. You expect him to grow and get better as his career goes on. Cooper Sharman, I've been big on this guy for a long time. He's in the top class category, ranked 8th as a key forward so far this year. Really solid numbers. I think he's got a good future ahead of him. Mason Wood, not your traditional key forward. He plays a few different roles at times. He's also ranked pretty highly, probably mainly because he goes out of the key forward at times. Mitch Owens, he's been really good this year as well. So they have 3 players in the top 13 there. I think Cooper Sharman and Mitch Owens have certainly provided really good options for them in that forward line. Obviously, when they get King back, that would be huge for them as well. Just as that third tool, I think they have a forward line, or at least a key forward line, that has shown enough potential to be really good in the future, basically. General forwards, Dan Butler, we kind of ignore there. He's played 1 game. It was a really solid game, but he's unranked at the moment, obviously. He's played just 1 game. Jack Higgins has had an outstanding season. He rates as above average, so not hugely great in terms of those numbers all the time. 28th best general forward. A lot of people would argue that he's a lot higher than that. He's kicked a lot of goals. I will premise that a couple times he's kicked a few garbage time goals, but that's okay. That's what you got to do at times. He's had a great season, no doubt about it. He's probably just about in career best form. Filippo, he's been good in the 4 games he's played. Once again, another player in that above average category. Max Hall, he's played all 12 games so far. He's been in that average category. He's played some good moments. He's had some lower ranked moments, but he's been solid enough across the year. Travaglia in his first year has been good-ish. Once again, a below average player in the rating system, but you expect that from first, second year players. While they learn the game, while they get up to speed, that's pretty much where they are. Jack Carroll's played just 1 game. He's unranked. Lance Collard's played 9 games. He's in that below average category. He has a bit of work to do. And Liam Henry's played just the 1 game as well. We move into the midfield and rucks. We start with the inside mids. And this is probably the area of the ground that maybe St Kilda need the most work in. Jack McRae has joined the club and been really, really good at times. He rates top class, 10 matches, 16th best inside mid in the competition so far this year. He's been really good. His best games have been outstanding. He's had a couple quieter games, but overall been really good. Jack Steele is in the above average category, so those two are putting up decent numbers, but outside of that, they don't have anyone else in average or above, so everyone else is in the bottom 40% of inside mids in the competition. Hunter Clark only played the 4 games, has potential. Marcus Windhager played his best game of the year last weekend against Melbourne, so if he can continue that, he may move up the ranks a fair bit, but so far he's had a few quiet games. Hugh Boxhall, obviously a young player, he'll develop. Zach Jones, 9 games, hasn't done a huge amount. Hugo Garcia as well in that below average range. Outside mids, obviously Bradley Hill is outstanding. Probably not putting up the numbers he was last year. Playing a few different roles this year. Last year he was a lot of wing time, whereas this year he has rotated through that half forward flank, half back flank even at times. But he's in that above average category. He's obviously one of the best wingmen in the competition at his best. Darcy Wilson, he's in that below average category. Look, there's not that much difference between those two players in ratings. The wing role is an interesting role, and in the rating system it is interestingly rated. There's not a huge amount between a lot of players because a lot of wingmen do play multiple roles and change roles throughout games. The ruckman, Rowan Marshall's obviously played 12 games. He's in average category, 12th best ruckman so far this year. He's down on his best, there's no doubt about it. Had an interesting pre-season, missed a bit of it. Has had a few injuries leading into the season, so I don't think he's had the best build up to this season, and maybe his numbers are showing that a little bit. I still think he's certainly capable of being a top 5 ruckman in the competition, and maybe we'll see that through the back half. Hopefully this bye week has given him a little bit of prep time, a little bit of recovery time, just to get his season fully going in the second half, and I could see him certainly moving up the rankings in the second half. Harry Boyd is an interesting one. Played just the 1 game so far this year, obviously as a second ruck in that game. His rating there doesn't look fantastic, but obviously playing as a second ruck compared to playing as a first ruck would be a lot different. His VFL numbers are very, very good. I think he's going to be a very good ruckman in this competition. So I think St Kilda have got themselves a good one, and that's mainly one of the reasons why I don't think they should be chasing Tom De Koning, because they've already got Rowan Marshall, and Harry Boyd looks like he will be a gun in the future. So if I was St Kilda, I'd be saving their money for elsewhere. I know they've tried to spend their money elsewhere before, and a lot of players say no, but I just think that they have some good ruck depth there already. We look into the positional spread to see where all their best players are. They have 3 elite players, which is pretty good. When you look at the numbers across the AFL, it should roughly equate to 2.5 per team. So 3 is good numbers in that regard. However, they are all in the back line, 1 key defender, 2 general defenders. So they probably want to get some elite players throughout the rest of the ground. If you look at their top class players, once again, slightly above average. AFL average would be 3.7 per team. They have 3 key forwards though and 1 inside mid. So they don't have the spread of the players across the ground in that top class and above range. You look at it, there's not much depth across the board. They have a lot of players in the below average category at the moment, which is probably the one area that they need to get a couple of those into average and even above average category. To be honest, above average and above, they've probably got the right mix of players in terms of AFL average wise. It's mainly that average category where they're lacking players. They've got too many in that below average category. 5 inside mids out of 7 is too many to be below average really. And same with general defenders, 5 out of, I know 9, but 2 also unranked. So they probably need a little bit more support for their ball users through the middle and the back line, just to get that more all-round support, I guess. Same with Rowan Marshall. As I said, I think he's capable of moving up the ranks in the second half of the season. obviously he's only in the average category at the moment. If he can get into above average or even top class, which he's capable of, that would be hugely beneficial for this St Kilda team. Moving into what they've still got to come this year, little look behind the curtain. Expected win percentage is using our ELO rating system that we use at All Aussie Rules. We do ratings for every game. Every team has a rating, and it basically just churns out their expected win percentage. So this is based on the season so far up to this point, after round 12. So those percentages change week on week, but that's how we have it set at the moment. And then that gives us an expected total wins and expected ladder position, which we'll get to at the end. Round 13 is obviously this weekend. They have the bye. Out of that, they have a lot of games at Marvel. Not as many as they did last year at Marvel coming home, but they still have plenty of games there. First up, Western Bulldogs will be a tough one straight out of the bye. Bulldogs have already had their bye, so they come back to, depend when you watch this video, but they've probably played last night or in the last couple of days. So that's going to be a tough one for St Kilda out of the bye, as will the next two. Collingwood at Marvel Stadium. It's good for St Kilda that it's probably at Marvel. MCG would be a harder one, I reckon, for them, but it's not going to be an easy game. Collingwood coming out of the bye that week. Fremantle at Optus Stadium will be a tough one, travel across the country. Then the Hawks at Marvel Stadium will be an interesting game. We'll see what Hawthorn is playing like come round 17, but at the moment their form's not fantastic. Round 18 should be a win against Sydney at Marvel based on what we've seen so far. Geelong at GMHBA Stadium in Geelong, tough game. They nearly knocked them off down there last year, early in the year. It was round 1 or 2 last year. Might have been round 1. But either way, they were competitive down there last year, so that might be a winnable game. Melbourne at Marvel Stadium, you'd probably back them at Marvel, St Kilda. Same with North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium, you'd back the Saints there. Richmond at the G is a winnable game for sure. Then the final 2 rounds, they finish with Essendon at Marvel Stadium, which is certainly winnable again, and GWS at NG Stadium is a tough finish for the year. You work out that, it gives you 9.86 wins, expected ladder of 12 for the end of the year, which is one position below where they are right now. Looking at the run home, there's probably, well, what are they, 5 wins at the moment. You need to probably get 13 wins in the season, so they'd need to win 8 coming home to be a reasonable chance of playing finals. Is there 8 wins there in the rest of the season? You'd say they would need to be playing a lot better football than what they've shown so far. Sydney certainly is one they should win, I think. Melbourne, North Melbourne, Richmond, and maybe even Essendon is a toss-up. So there's 5 or 6 that certainly are possible wins, likely wins maybe. That only gets them to 10 or 11. So they would certainly need to upset a few teams, at least 2 or 3 coming home if they were to be a genuine finals chance, I think. They've probably left themselves too much to do, which is exactly what they did last year. I'm not exactly sure what my mid-season video of them said last year, but I'm pretty sure it said they will come home hard, but they've left themselves too much. I don't think they're going to come home quite as well this year, but I think certainly could end up around about that 10 or 11 win mark, which is probably the worst amount of wins to finish on, because you're not going to get one of the top few picks in the draft and you're not playing finals. But who knows, crazy things happen. Football happens, like the amount of upsets we've already seen this year. So I wouldn't completely write them off, but from what we've seen so far this year, I'm not confident that St Kilda can make a push for the finals. That is everything we've got for you in today's mid-season review for St Kilda. I hope you've enjoyed. Don't forget to let me know down in the comments below where you see St Kilda finishing this season. Can they make a push for the finals? Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's push for 200 subscribers on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the noti bell so you don't miss any videos. There's plenty more coming your way. Check out the podcast. Check out all the other mid-season reviews. I'll be back next week with more content coming your way. Thanks for watching. Catch you then.